Alright guys, we're going to make up this adjusting screw now. So this is the one that's got the M10 by 1mm pitch, and we've put that in as a left hand thread. So it's fairly straightforward, this one. So we've got our register diameter here that's going to go up inside our bush. We've got a collar which is going to go up against the bush head. We've got our thread that we're going to cut, and we've got a keyway that we're going to put in as well and drill and tap into the top end there. So I'm going to machine this all out bar the thread at this stage. I'm going to use that diameter then to put into the V-blocks to clamp down on the mill to cut the keyway, and then we'll come back into the ER32 collets because I know they're dead plumb on. We'll set that up in the collet, and we'll cut the thread then. All right, so I've got a bit of black stock I've got here. You might have mentioned a while ago when I used to do design work at the steel mill many years ago that sometimes I'll pick up bits of black stock and have a look at it and just see how if there's been any issues with the forming. And this one here, you can actually see down here a little bit of a flat spot, and if you look on the end there you can actually see a little flat spot where the material hasn't quite flowed into the rolling dies. So just something I look at when I'm grabbing bits of stock. Anyway, I'll face this off. We've centered one end. We'll set this up and we'll start machining. Right, take two. Got a little bit aggressive with that that feed cut there, and tripped out the feed shaft. Never a problem with the smaller lathes. Sometimes you'll go a little bit too hard and things happen. All right, let's get back to it again. Right, I'm going to let that cool down a little bit, and we'll come back and do our finished sizes for our thread and our collar. Then we'll take the 3-jaw chuck out and we'll put our ER32 adapter on, and then we'll set up in the machine the 12mm diameter. Right, we'll just do our sizing cut for our 10mm thread. Oh, a touch more to do. Got about 0.05 to come off that. I'll take that off. I'm going to swap the rotate my heads around so that I've got the sharper insert, and I'll come in. I'll just do a little undercut inside there, and then I'll cut that off, and we'll flip that around and put that in a 32 collet to do our 12mm diameter. So I'll finish those off, and we'll come back with this setup. You may recall some time ago, another video that I did was to remachine this D14 to ER32 collet because it was out, gosh, I think it was around about 10 thou. It was atrocious, one of these Chinese purchases. But I've remachined it, and if you have a look at the clock, you'll see it's maybe 0.005 of a mil. If I move it up, that's on the very outside there. It's about the same there, 0.005. So, you know, it's pretty dead nuts accurate now. So it was worth the time, taking the time to get this right and get that machined up, so that whenever I do put stuff in the collets, I'm pretty confident that it's going to be spot on. All right, we'll get this faced off, get a center in there, and we'll get starting to knock this diameter down. Yeah, within 0.02. Alright, I'll clean that up with the emery and we'll get that fitting. What I'll also do is I'm just going to put my sharp tool in just to take a little bit out of that corner so that we don't have a radius that we're working up against. So I'll quickly do that now. I'll tidy that up and I'll give that an emery and we'll get that to size to suit the bush. Alright, so we've got that diameter down now. I've just pushed the bush into that little spreader plate. And that fits up there quite nicely. And our washer goes in behind that. Right, so what we'll do next is we'll set up to cut that keyway. Before I do take this out, we'll drill and tap that. Where are we? Drill and tap an M6. So we'll get that done before we take it out. And we'll come over to the mill, and as I said, we'll set up and we'll do that that little keyway. All right, very happy with that so far. That's working out quite well. All right, quick little change. I'm going to make this an M5. It's look, the M6 would have been fine, but it's the threads are just shy of where the bottom of the key is going to be. So could have done one or two things. I could have made the key a shallow key, but for what this is doing, an M5 will be fine. I'm not happy with that. I'm just going to go up a drill size on that. It's really tight. I'd rather play it safe than be sorry. And the number of drills that I'm using, so I'm only going to go up a couple of thou. Alright, we're going with the table one. I think I know what part of the problem was. With the spiral tap that I'd taken one of the threads out. So I'll go with one of the additionals. Right, so it's done. Righto. All done. Yeah, I'd rather play it safe than sorry with taps. Sometimes the charts tell you one thing, but when you're into it, sometimes your gut tells you another. So I was happy to just open that up a few thou. All right, we'll take this over to the mill, and we'll get set up to do our little keyway. All right, we've got this little keyway that we need to cut. Let's quick look at the drawing. So we've got to go 2.5 deep from touch off, and we've got to go 14 millimeters long. Now I'm using a 3mm end mill here at the moment. It's got to be opened up to 4mm, so we'll side cut, and I'll set it using the gauge blocks. Alright, my gauge stack tells me that it's 3.38. Right. That'll just go in there. Alright, 3.38. So we've got about 0.3 of a mil to take off either side to side. Oh, sorry guys, I forgot to turn off that last cut, but that's a 4mm gauge block, and that just fits in there beautifully. So that's our keyway cut. Right, next job is we're going to set up and cut our left hand 10mm or 1mm pitch thread. So I'll tidy that little burr up there, and we'll get that set up in the collet on the lathe, and we'll get ready for cutting this thread. Alright guys, we've got this this set up. I had to do something I haven't done for a long time, and that is use a dead center or a half dead center. So I've got a little bit of nickel anti-seize in there at the moment. Years ago we used to use a copper grease compound. We're running dead centers because it wouldn't be more than once that someone's burnt the tip off one. We're running fairly slow on this, obviously cutting the thread, so it won't be an issue. I've gone through and just checked out to make sure we are cutting a 1mm left hand pitch, which is what we are. And I've actually moved this out a little bit. My half nuts weren't quite engaging, obviously, with this setup here. With a 3-jaw, you're sitting a lot further out, so I've just had to pull this out of the collet a little bit. So don't be alarmed if you see these lines not lining up. I haven't recut them again since I've moved that out. All right, let's make a start. Now it's a 1mm pitch on a 6mm lead screw, so I can drop this in wherever I want. Okay, let's make a start. Total depth is going to be about 0.62 millimeters. keep ticking on that. I'm about to run out of batteries, so I'll bring you back when we've got a fit. Right, we've got this a really neat sized fit now. And look, there's no real axial play in that at all. So I'm happy with that. I'll tell you what, I'd rather cut a bigger thread than these little tiny ones. I don't know how you blokes that are into model engineering go. It's heart-stopping sometimes. But we got there, and I'm very happy with that result. So that's a good job to get out of the way. And I think I'm just on the last of my battery now, so alright, I'm going to pack it in now that we've got that finished. Next job is we're going to make up the small knob for the top of this, and as I said, I'm going to put some indexing lines on that, but also on the actuation up and down. I'm going to be able to mount a dial indicator so that I know exactly how far I'm side cutting when we get there. Alright guys, we'll see you soon. Righto guys, we're going to start to machine up this actuating knob for this screw that's going to be lifting the slide plate up and down. So I have made a design change to it, and hopefully we can see that. Alright, so this is the knob that we're going to be making up out of aluminium. That's our bronze washer sitting in underneath it. I've actually skirted this inside because my plan is I want to run some markings down here for graduations so that we can see how far we're moving it. Having said that, I am going to be mounting a dial indicator up on this to give some accuracy, so just a nice thing to do. I've got a top cap with an M5 socket headed cap screw that's going to fit inside there. We've got to be fairly careful. I'm going to leave this a little bit full and just machine this back until we can get this so that there's no play at all in this once it's all locked up. So that's what we're going to be making today, this nut. As I said, we'll go ahead and then make that capture bush. That's our modified detail. I've made this so that I can fit it into a 3-jaw chuck. We'll machine this with a little bit of extra length because I'll need to hold that so I can get my run out when I'm cutting out these scallops. So I'm just going to do them like on a PCD with a 12mm end mill and just drop them down and cut them in that way. Then we can put it back in the 3-jaw to do the final finishing. Then we can mount that in the 3-jaw to then do our indexing graduations around there. And that's just a little detail of that the cap we're going to do in stainless steel. I'm going to do this in aluminium. We'll see how we go with that. There's not going to be a lot of torque on this while we're adjusting this up and down, so I think it's going to be fine. Just want something that's not going to rust, because it's something your hand's going to be on as you do move this up and adjust it. Alright, so it's a bit of 50mm stock that I've got. I bought a bit of this years ago up at a model engineering exhibition up in Bendigo, and you know, picked this up for a song, so this is sort of getting down to the last of it now. It's been really handy for little projects around the shop. So we'll rough this out to start with, then we can cut it off. We'll do our scalloping, put it back into the 3-jaw, and then do our final machining on it. Alright, so we'll make a start on that. time that cools down, that'll shrink down about 0.02. There's a bit of heat in that. Right. Next thing I think we'll do is I'll set up and I'll cut that radius onto there. We can part it off, turn it around, I'll cut the radius on the other side. So we're going to do that a little bit differently, cutting those radiuses, so we'll get set up for that. Okay, let's see how we go. I've got a tool that I use in the milling machine for cutting radiuses. So we'll see how that goes. I've got that clamped in the tool post. We'll see how that goes. Worked out great. Alright, I'll cut this off, we'll face it. We'll put another radius on the other end there, then we'll set that up in a 3-jaw chuck over on the mill, and we'll cut out the scallops next. Alright. Okay, so we'll just face this off to length. Got about another millimetre to go on the face. Be close enough for a handle. Right, I'll get a little radius tool again. Right there, all done. Right, we'll set up for the drilling and boring through for this. And we can go and set up on the mill for doing the little grooves in the handpiece. Okay, so we've drilled this out. I've done a proof machine, and I've got about 0.6 of a mil to go. So we're going to take off 0.5 and just creep up on it slowly, and then we've got to do our counter bore at that top end. I did notice when I was doing that radius there that this had a little bit of a wobble in it, so I took it out of the 3-jaw, gave the jaws a clean up, put it back in, and recut the radius and got that pretty plumb. 0.03 under the nominal size. So I come to about 11.97. I want this to be a reasonably neat fit onto the shaft. Just trying to work around the camera. Right, we're at 91. So I'm going to go 0.06 now. So we'll zero that off. And we'll see where we're sitting. Oh, so close. I'm just going to keep whiskering that away. I'll come back to you when we're just about there, or when we're finished anyway. I'm going to pack it in. It's cracking up over 38 degrees in the shed here at the moment. I'm just dripping with sweat. Righto, so we've got a nice, easy running fit. I can side that now. There we go. Right, so that'll do nicely. Alright, I'll do the little counterbore inside here. And we'll set up and do the little scallops out of here. And we've got some broaching to do as well to broach that keyway in. But for now I'm gonna pack it in. It's hot. It's real hot. Alright guys, I'll see you soon.